Today, we're talking about your church's Google business profile. What is it? Why is it important? And 4 tips that you can use to make sure that your profile is ready to go to get new visitors into your church. So what is a Google business profile? This is your church's listing on Google Maps. I want you to think about the process someone will go through when they're searching for a new church home. Now, for a lot of people, they're going to ask for suggestions from friends or family. Some people might go straight to Google and just start searching. Those searches are going to look like churches near me, things like that. But let's say they did get a suggestion. Now they know the name of your church, and probably the next thing they're going to do is head to Google, type in the name of your church, and see what they can find. One of the first things they're going to see when they type in the name of your church is going to be your Google business profile. That's what shows up on the right-hand side of the screen on the Google Maps kind of section of the search. Below that, you're going to see your church's name. You're going to see contact information, website, address, and you're going to see like reviews in there as well. But either way, this is going to be the first impression they have of your church. Since the content they see on that Google business profile is likely the first content they're seeing from your church, it's important that we put the effort in ahead of time to make sure that we're making a good impression. So here are 4 tips that you can do to make sure that your profile is set up and ready for new visitors. The first tip is to complete your profile. Is there missing information? Is the phone number there listed correctly? Is the name of your church there listed correctly? Is the website there? Are there links to your social media profiles? Do you have reviews on there? You've got to make sure all that information is correct. Now, let's say you've never messed with this before. You might be surprised to find out that there's actually might be already a listing in Google for your church. You might not have even created it. If that's the case and you've never looked through this or edited it, you first have to claim that listing and go through the verification process with Google to make sure that they know you are the person that owns this listing and is kind of in charge of that organization. There's a couple different ways Google might go about verifying that you run that organization. One of the things they might do is mail you a letter in the mail with a code on it that's got a verification code that you've got to type in to prove that you are at that address and you run that organization. Follow the instructions that Google gives you, and usually you can kind of complete this process in about a week or 2. Once you complete that verification process, you can then log in, update the information, and make sure it's all the same. One thing I want you to make sure and look at is the name of your church. Is the name of your church listed consistently on all of your different profiles, your Facebook profile, your Instagram profile, your Google business profile, and your website? Sometimes the name of our church is complicated and there might be a few different versions of it that have come up over the years, but it's important that you take time to make sure that that name is exactly the same on each of those listings. That's really going to help prove to Google this place is real, and you're going to start showing up a little bit higher in search engine results because of that. Tip number 2 is to upload high quality photos of your church to your Google business profile. Now, if you just went through this verification process, or if you've never really edited or interacted with your Google business profile before, you might be surprised to see photos up there already. Those photos are going to be what's called user-submitted photos. So that's just someone that went to your church, that took a handful of photos and uploaded them, usually as part of a review that they've posted to your Google business profile. Those user-generated photos aren't always amazing. It might be using a phone that's really bad in bad lighting conditions, or of parts of your church that aren't the most beautiful part of your church, which is why it's important that you take the time to go take high-quality photos of your church. When people are looking at your Google business profile, they want to know, what does this place look like? What is it like to attend this church? What am I going to see when I walk through the doors? So think of this almost more like kind of architectural style photography. You need to show, this is what our church looks like. Here's what the people look like in our service. This is what you are going to experience when you walk through the doors of our church. Tip number 3 is also related to photos, and that is that you need to be updating them on a somewhat regular basis. You might have done this before, but it might have been 7 years ago when you first planted your church. Likely things look a little bit different now than they did 7 years ago. So it's important that you take time, maybe once every month, every couple months or so, to go and upload new photos and make sure that you've got kind of up-to-date information there in your Google business profile. Tip number 4 is this. You need to encourage the members of your church to go and leave reviews on your Google business profile. Now, often you've seen this type of activity before at your local businesses. Maybe it's a pizza restaurant or a bakery. They might have a little sign on the table with a QR code that says, go leave a review on Google. You need to be doing that same kind of thing in your church. The higher number of reviews that you have, and especially the higher number of 5-star reviews that you have, is going to make it look like more people go to your church and have had a great experience there. A few different ways that you might encourage your church members to leave reviews. You can do an announcement from the stage explaining, here's what we're asking you to do, here's why it's important. Really take a moment to explain that taking time to leave a review on Google can actually lead to more people visiting your church. The second way you can do this would be to send out an email newsletter or a text message to everyone at your church with a link to go leave a review on Google. Another option would be to make it part of your assimilation process. Do you have a class that new visitors come to, or maybe several classes that new visitors come through? Make it one of the things that you're asking for in that class. Hey guys, at the end of our class, take a moment, go leave a review of us on Google. That makes a really big difference and helps other people get to see what we're doing here at our church. If you implement all 4 of these tips, congratulations, your Google business profile is going to be looking great, and it is set up to make a great first impression when people search for your church online. That's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you've not done so already, make sure and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. I publish 1 video a week just like this, designed to help you grow your church 1 visitor at a time.